the biggest difference is time.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's priceless. I look forward to seeing my patients. I look forward to going to work. I look forward to doing what I do. I didn't. I was ready to quit medicine completely.
Hmm.
And it just brings me so much joy.
Hmm.
I'm like, this is what I wanted to do.
Welcome to DPC Life, the podcast where independent doctors share real stories, bold ideas, and the freedom of doing medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Ann Gonzalez, and together we'll explore the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to DPC Life. Thank you for joining me today. And today my guest is Dr. Angela Andrews. She is a direct primary care doctor in Michigan, and so we'll be hearing about her journey, and also we talk about things that she has been doing outside of her practice, things that she probably would never have had a chance to do if she was still in regular fee-for-service system. So I thought I would talk about one of the things that I am doing now that I get to do because I am a DPC doctor. We live in Western North Carolina, and we're very close to a lake. It's called Lake James. It is about an hour east of Asheville. It's a gorgeous, beautiful, pristine lake. The area was really ravaged by Helene last year, but the lake has come back, and people are back boating. We saw a swimmer in the water this morning. I think he swam like a mile. It was crazy. But I am on our local dragon boat team. And if you don't know what a dragon boat is, it's a sport, actually, dragon boating. And it started, I don't know, thousands of years ago or something in China. There's a whole legend where I think a prince disappeared, and so people were going out in these long, skinny boats looking for the prince. So that's where dragon boating came from, at least the version that I had read. But it's a long boat. I can't remember how long exactly, but it's very skinny. There's two women to each seat, or at least two people to each seat. And so usually there's 20 people in the boat. That's a full boat. And then at the front of the boat, there's somebody at the races who is beating on the drum to keep time with the paddlers. We practice a couple times a week on Tuesday afternoons and then Saturday mornings, but it's a great sport. It's just a great team. All these women, so some of them are breast cancer survivors or other type of cancers. The team was actually started probably 15 years ago by 3 breast cancer survivors. It's a great team, a lot of great women, and it's a lot of fun. So that is one thing that I've gotten to do now that I am a DPC doctor and have time to do things outside of medicine and that don't necessarily involve my kids. That's actually for me. So anyway, on to our interview with Dr. Andrews. Thanks again for listening, and here we go. So today I have with me Dr. Angela Andrews. She is the founder and owner of Seeds of Health, Direct Primary Care in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's PEDS and IM boarded as well as lifestyle medicine. So welcome.
Thank you. So
Yes,
excited.
yeah, thanks for being here. So let's start out first with telling us a little bit about your journey to DPC. It's very
Hmm.
interesting.
Yes. And so I always preface with I can't remember when I exactly first heard about DPC, but it was at least a 2, maybe 3 year process from the time I considered it to the time I finally made the leap. And at its core, I was very frustrated with what was happening in medicine. I care deeply and passionately about my patients. I want to do a good job. And from the time I started working in my healthcare system, and I was there for about 8 years, from the time I started to the time right before I left, it went from I had time to take care of my patients, I had a little bit of control of my schedule to no, you're going to be seeing patients about every 15 minutes. Now you have to see 20, 25 patients a day. And oh, no, your panel doesn't need to be closed, even though you probably have about 3,000 patients and you're only working part-time. None of that made sense to me. So all of that desire to do good and do good by my patients and try to actually help people solve their problems and not just band-aid it and throw medications and then billing people for bringing up extra problems during the physical, it was wearing on me. And then COVID also happened and my health just went down the toilet.
Mhm.
And that's when I started really reevaluating what was happening. And I said, maybe this is the time for me to start making a change, because I can't continue practicing medicine if this is the way I have to do it. So I took a leave of absence somewhere along the way, because I needed a mental and health break. And unbeknownst to the people I was working for, I also used that as an opportunity to begin building my business.
Yes.
Yeah, so I went around and met all the active DPC practices in my town, and one of those was DPC West Michigan with Dr. Amat. She was the first one in Grand Rapids, and I ended up meeting with her several times, and she became my mentor. And she kept encouraging me and kind of leaning into me. And my tipping point was I wanted my student loans to be paid off. I'm married, have a young child, primary breadwinner at that time. How am I going to leave my job, and how are we going to sustain ourselves and also be a mom and do all these things for our business I have known nothing about? It was scary. And I said, if my student loans go away, that would be a huge relief. And I was thinking I had another 2 years, and I got a letter. They were completely forgiven 2 years ahead of what I anticipated, out of nowhere. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, God,
That's
I'm
a
listening.
sign.
Yes. I'm like, okay. And I had written it down, and I'm a notebook person. I had a notebook, and I had written down first step, student loans gone. And I pulled it out, and I went, okay, I guess that's it. So like I started thinking, okay, how am I going to tell my team? So we had a meeting. We were having a staff meeting, and they were reminding us of billing patients for extra questions during the physical. And the other doctors in the room were complaining about patients bringing extra stuff up. And I said, whoa, 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 are you kidding me? Patients have to wait 6 months to get in to see us. See, I know that's what it is on my schedule. They can't even get in to see me. And now you're telling me if they bring up anything other than their routine stuff on their exam, I have to bill them extra? Not happening. That's it. I'm done. Like, when did we come to this? I'm quitting. And that's how I quit. And I put in I had to put in 3 months or something like that. And that began the process. So there was a lot of contemplating. I was listening to my DPC story. I attended a DPC conference a year before I left, and I was in that contemplative mode. And that next year I attended the summit. I started my practice.
Wonderful. So you told your employers you had a long 3 months. That's rough. Then
it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
It was the
Right.
happiest time of my life.
Exactly. It's so funny. It's kind of like, and I've only changed jobs twice, but each time it feels like you have a new boyfriend and you're so excited.
Yes. Yes.
Isn't that
I was
funny?
like, oh.
I know, secret boyfriend, right? Yeah. So then after the summit, you opened, and tell us more.
So when I decided to open my practice, I had to figure out all these things. What am I going to call my practice, right? Where am I going to set up shop? Am I going to work from home? Have like a home office? Am I going to rent space? What space am I going to rent? Where am I going to get all my supplies? And so like I'm in the Facebook group and asking these questions. Well, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? Getting like the whole like DPC guide I think it might have been from the DPC Alliance, and reading all the books and just like absorbing as much as I can. So I make my little checklist, and again, ran into Dr. Amat at a Doctor Saving Doctors thing that we had here in Grand Rapids. And I told her at that time, I said, hey, look, I'm starting my practice. She's like, oh, you are? She's like, do you need space? I was like, I do. And she's like, I've got space if you want to come rent for me. And I have an assistant that you can use part-time. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yes, yes.
Wow.
So
Did she retire? Or
she did.
She did.
She retired, and I bought her practice.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
I bought her practice in October.
She was
so
full,
that's
right?
Yeah. Well, so I didn't get like all of her patients. So that's a whole long story of itself. She was sunsetting her practice, and she had already started sunsetting it. And she was trying to figure out how to offload her practice, because she actually moved to Spain. And she just moved to Spain. Yeah, she moved to Spain to be closer to family. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, she's at this point, I pray, living her best life ever.
Yeah.
And leaving medicine and retiring from medicine was very hard. And it's especially hard when you have built something and you don't want to see it die, right?
Or
And
get in the wrong hands and
or get in the
become
wrong hands.
something completely
Yes,
different.
exactly. And so she was sent to her practice. She was having some health issues. She had already kind of like was letting go of patients, and she was primarily doing immigration exams at that point. So she still had a few holdovers. There was a little bit of a gap before I started my practice, and some of those patients came to me automatically right away before I'd even taken over her practice. So when I started my practice, I hit the ground running with some patients already.
Great.
And then, which was great, exactly. So I've been pretty busy from the beginning. Within the first month of starting my practice, which is not everyone's story, I had at least 50 patients, a combination of some of hers and some of mine that came over from my practice right away. And I was like, overwhelmed. Then it got to a point where I started slowing down in my practice and getting the hang of things. Like I feel like I wanted my own space. I wanted control of stuff. She also rented space out to other offices. So most of her practice at that point was immigration exams and renting out subleasing space. She had 3 exam rooms in there. And when she decided that she was going to move on and didn't want to manage that anymore, and I was also ready to move on, unbeknownst to each other, so I had my own space. She's like, well, what do you want to buy it? I'm like, yeah.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
Meant to
So
be.
it's meant to be. I mean, 100%. And we both, it's really surreal how everything has transpired between us, how our paths cross. So I'm actually going to be changing. I finally had the epiphany, and again, both her and I, our faith drives a lot of what we do. And I've had this really strong compulsion of like, you need to change your name to Direct Primary Care West Michigan. Like that, embodies everything. And I'm going to change Seeds of Health to a nonprofit so that I can help offset costs for other people. Because I have a very low income. I have a lot of people in my practice who just don't have means, but I don't want them to be turned away. So after this last conference, I didn't know what to do with it. And there were all the speakers and the sessions we went to just like reinforced that. And I was like,
it's possible.
I'm so excited. It's possible. So I'm going to be rebranding my practice. It's actually already in the process. In November 1st is going to be our launch date.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, so we're
going to show our t-shirts.
Yes,
so I got to stand up
t-shirts.
and I did mine.
Yeah, so National DPC Day, November 1st. Yay!
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we decided to make it symbolic. So we're going to be Direct Primary Care West Michigan. Seeds of Health isn't going away. It's Seeds of Health represents my story. It represents what I'm passionate about. It just represents so much. And so that can't go away. So that's it becoming my nonprofit to kind of help carry on the bigger stuff that I want to do in the healthcare space. Is going to be really powerful.
That is so exciting. I'm so happy for you.
I'm scared as all get out. I'm so happy.
Yeah. If you're not scared, you're not doing it right?
Right, exactly.
It's
all
and
that's
scary.
why I tell people, I was like, it's supposed to be scary. It's all new.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's perfect segue into, now that you're DPC and you've been in it 2, 3, how many years now?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Obviously now you're going to establish a nonprofit branch of your DPC. Tell us more about the things that you've been able to do now that you are a DPC doctor. Besides that, I mean, that's like amazing.
So things that being a DPC owner and having my own practice has been a very emotional journey. When I wanted to be, I'm such a tearful person these days. When I decided I know, when I decided to become a doctor in the first place, like I desperately want to help people. Yeah, I come from poverty. I come from a family of lots of health issues. My father had his first heart attack at 40. He died in his 50s, or actually early 60s. Advanced cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and so many of his other siblings died prematurely from all the same conditions. And at its core, a lot of lifestyle stuff, and also no advocates in healthcare. And like I get choked up. I don't like to see people suffering necessarily. And when I was 16, he had one of his legs amputated, and I was in the room and his surgeon was there and he's like, my daughter's gonna be a doctor one day because she wants to help people like me. And I'm like, yep. Oh, and I thought at the time, like, oh, I'm gonna be a cardiovascular surgeon or I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna be that. And I did projects about being a cardiologist. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got into the space, I said, no, I need to do primary care. I need to prevent people from ever needing those people in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that drives so much of what I do. And when I started my practice and I would talk, everyone that's not in DPC and doesn't understand it thinks of it as concierge. And I'm very adamant that it is not concierge. And yes, I have people in my practice that could easily go pay for a concierge doctor. Um, but the philosophy and and I feel like the motives behind what I do on a day-to-day basis, we have things that are like more boutique-y that we offer because we can. But at its core, it's helping people thrive, get to the root cause of the issues, and prevent things as much as possible
Mm-hmm.
and advocate for them. So in my practice, I have time. That is the biggest thing. I can visit people at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can not go in the office during the day because I want to go do something with my kid. I can cancel my schedule and make a phone call to people. I'm not tied to reimbursements, relying on a video visit and checking off certain boxes. All of my care, so much of my care is non or is was it described as? Yeah, there's a name for it. I
Reimbursable.
can't.
You can't get
No,
reimbursed. No.
there's well, yeah, that too, but there's another term for it. I can't think right now, but it's not like it's phone calls, it's text
Right,
messages. And
right.
I have relationships with
It's
my
kind of
patients. I have
invisible
patients,
work.
it's invisible. And the relationships that I have built and many of the patients I have came from my prior practice, and I had already been taking care of them for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've been able to accomplish in a year and a half is leaps and bounds above what I was able to do when I was in the system. And the biggest difference is time.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's priceless. There's not I look forward to seeing my patients. I look forward to going to work. I look forward to doing what I do. I didn't. I was ready to quit medicine completely.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brings me so much joy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I envisioned. I feel like a small town doctor doing medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Mm-hmm.
community doctor, meeting people where they are. It is
Yep.
great. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The time is incredible. And, you have some patients that when you were in the system, you see them on your schedule and you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a doozy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, I don't care if I see them. I enjoy seeing them now. They're cool. It's
Exactly.
okay. And it was
Exactly.
just, you didn't like to see them because you didn't have time to deal with the 100 different things that they had on their list, which are all valid. It's just you couldn't get to them. And that's why
You
you were
couldn't get to them. And it
frustrated.
was overwhelming
Yeah.
because then you wanted to do it all and you couldn't.
Right, right. But now you can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People love it. They,
Oh my gosh.
they love it.
They absolutely love it. And there's gonna be some attrition. I've had since starting my practice, I've had three people that have two that left voluntarily and two that I let
Mhm.
go of. And the two that left voluntarily, like there definitely wasn't a relationship. Like we
Mhm.
didn't, and I think the key to success and it may not be true for all practices, but this is the kind of practice I have. And I feel like a lot of like the micro practice, women run practices. It's my practice, although not a micro practice. I don't have a lot of patients and I don't want a lot of patients
Mhm.
because of all the other balancing things I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, they didn't have a relationship with me. So if I was sick or if my son had something going on or if I had death in the family and I wasn't responding quickly, they
Mhm.
understood. And like, you're a person too. In the system, they don't, that patients don't see it that way. You're part of the system. But in
Right.
this, we have a
Yeah.
relationship and there's a back and forth. And it's like, hey, Dr. Andrews, how are you doing? You all right? Can I do
Mhm.
anything for you?
Right. Mhm.
And it's like, really?
Very unexpected. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah.
So huge difference.
So I'm curious, we had because I started my DPC with a partner, and so we had several I mean, we started with a good amount of patients too because they came over with us. And
Nice.
which was fantastic. Again, very unusual for people starting
Hmm.
DPC. But we were talking about this the other day. A lot of them, probably 50% of the people who originally came with us, have moved on to different
Yeah.
practices. And I think it's because, they liked us. It's not that
Hmm.
they were super jazzed about DPC. I mean, some of them
Hmm.
were, but I think they just realized, okay, this is not for me. And I'm wondering,
Hmm.
for you, what's your experience with the ones that came with you initially?
Yeah. The ones that came with me originally, those people have actually been my most loyal,
Hmm.
actually. The ones that have kind of like fallen away are the ones that weren't originally mine.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Or people that were brand new.
Hmm.
And the ones that came to my practice or followed me to this practice were kind of already the folks that were almost invested in me for some reason,
Hmm.
even though I was in the system.
Hmm.
But the same is true. So the ones that didn't stay, that weren't mine all along, they just realized it just wasn't for them.
Right.
Like it was because for all the wonderful things of DPC, it's still not perfect,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I'm still working out the kinks of
Hmm.
like all the tech, the communication, the
Right.
text, the email, all and there's all
Hmm.
the things. And if people want kind of like always want instant response, instant gratification in a system, there's always someone available. Doesn't mean they're going to help you, but there's always
Right.
someone available.
Exactly.
And so it just depends on what their expectations are and what they
Hmm.
want. And then also some people don't want to pay for if they don't need you all the time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And although those people don't usually sign up, but I would
Hmm.
say at least one or two of those were people that kind of felt like, well, I don't really need to pay. I'm like, I'm not trying to convince you,
You don't want to. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. And that was something too it took a while not to get like my feelings hurt about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Amat actually we did a lot. That was a lot in the beginning of I
Hmm.
had started a small coaching practice that I didn't love coaching people. And I started doing some business things before I started my practice. And I worked out a lot of those initial entrepreneurial like kinks and like not
Oh,
having yeah. And so like I
you had a
had a
head
little bit
start.
of it. I have a head start. And Dr. Amat
Yeah.
was like, you have a head start about I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I didn't realize I was preparing myself for that. So all along I was really preparing myself for this and I didn't
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that hang up of like of condensing energy. I already had the feeling of like this is what I do, this is how I do it, this is why I do it, this is why I care. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Hmm.
Because I knew that it was going to waste my energy and waste
Right.
time and waste their money and waste their time if we were unequally yoked
Yeah.
effectively. And
Yeah.
so I went into it with that from the beginning, and that was really helpful.
Hmm. Yeah. I like that convincing energy. I like that term because it is energy, and
Hmm.
you're just kind of throwing that out and then wasting it on something that you're
Yes.
never going to
And
convince them.
if I
Hmm.
feel that in the conversation from the beginning,
Hmm.
no,
Right.
this isn't for you. Let me know if you want to talk again later.
Right. Yeah. Just cut it off early because there's no
Hmm.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like dating. It's truly like
Yeah.
dating.
Yeah. It is. It is. It's true. Yeah. So let's talk about some other things that you've been able to do because you've got a lot on your plate. You've got Walk with a
Yeah.
Doc, you've got um, your podcast.
Hmm.
Yeah, tell us
All
more.
the things. And I was teaching at Michigan State when I was at Trinity, and I kept that job
Okay, yeah.
up until just recently.
Mm-hmm.
I was assistant clerkship director for the internal medicine program. Decided to step away from that because, like your point, I had a lot on my plate, and I was like, you know what, this is not a good use of my time. I need to focus more on the business, and mutually agreed to step away from that and just remain loosely tied to the university because I still like being connected to the students. So that's not a big aspect of what I do anymore,
Mm-hmm.
fortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I miss the students on a regular basis, but it was one of those things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go do that today. And when
Mm-hmm.
I had that, anytime you have that feeling, it's like, this is not a good thing to have on your plate.
Right. Right.
So I was doing that. I had my podcast, The Lifestyle MD. That's what I started. I started that in the beginning before I started this practice again. That was a part of like the initial entrepreneurial stuff I was doing. And my original mission of starting that was to kind of like funnel my coaching and my lifestyle stuff. And as I have moved more toward my practice, and this is my purpose, this is my passion. Now my Lifestyle MD podcast is um, I use it to help educate my patients even further and to reach people that can't be in my practice and share the wisdom both from my patients and from other colleagues. And so now it's kind of again, that's kind of been rebranded to kind of fit in more in line as an extension of what we would do at Seeds of Health.
Mm-hmm.
We do a blog on our website, which again, almost everything that we talk about, whether I'm blogging or podcasting, it comes from my patient conversations. I'm like, oh, that's a good podcast. Oh, that's a good blog article. And it's things that people bring up that I'm like, I know someone else is wondering about that. So let me share it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Walk with the doc. I wanted to do Walk with the doc from the very beginning of my time when I was working in the system. And I kept asking and probing, and I kept getting pushback. And Walk with the Doc, I learned about lifestyle medicine, and Walk with the Doc, I knew about since residency. And it was very difficult to get traction when I was in the system around anyone else who cared about it. And I got my lifestyle medicine certification finally after 10 years at the end of my time in the system, because I'm like, wait, let me spend this money that you're giving me before I go.
Right.
Because it's going to help me in my practice. So I took
yeah,
advantage of
that's
that.
a good tip. Use all your CME money.
Use
right?
all your CME. And really it came down to I just needed to attend the conference and sit for the test, which was like easy piece of cake because I already been doing all the stuff. I just needed the official certification. So I had them pay for that. And then one of the very first things I did is I started a walk. And our walk, again, it's an extension of the practice, and we've got people that come that aren't in our practice. It's first Saturday of every month. We have like an outdoor location at the park, and we have an indoor location at a mall. And every time, it's one of my favorite things I look forward to. The patients that come look forward to it. If anyone can't come, they're always sad. Oh my gosh, I can't make the walk, because the people that are there, my patients and other folks, they are people that would never interact and be together under any other circumstances. They couldn't be from more divergent walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fruitful. I mean, again, like a big part of another piece of what I strive to do in my practice, and it kind of plays into the whole lifestyle medicine focus, is community, build community. I want to build community with my patients, and I want my patients to build community with each other, because the healthcare system is broken. And whether they're with me or anyone else, because at some point they're going to travel, or at some point they're going to need a specialist, I want them to be empowered and informed and have people in their corner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So our walk has helped create a sense of community. It's brought, I've actually like learned more about my patients and helped make diagnoses. Like I figured out one of my patients had MS, like during the walk. I'm like, wait, you're off balance. Why are you struggling so much with walking? And I'm like, tell me more, what's going on? And we're not there to diagnose.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And she had really ambiguous symptoms. And then I finally, like, we're walking and I just had like an epiphany. Let's do an MRI. And yeah, so, sure enough, she had,
Wow.
findings that were suggestive of an MS.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so there's all these little benefits that come from those walks. I mean, again, it's not medically intended. That's usually not the outcome, but it's the relationships. So we have the walk, we have the podcast, in the practice from a financial standpoint. So, this might be one of the questions. So our practice right now, we're at 170. We could have 300. I intentionally have closed. Actually, my practice on my website said it's closed. But the only people I let into the practice now are family members and direct recommendations.
Right.
And it's a lot of effort to bring on new people. Even though I have like one semi-full-time medical assistant / office manager / everything else. Between the two of us, a lot of work, and we're both moms. So we're very selective on how we use our energy. And when I bring someone on, it's very thorough. It's a whole ramp up process. A lot of times by the time they're coming to us, they've kind of reached that point of like, no one's listening to me. I need someone who actually cares about what's going on. And we're doing some uncovering, and that's not everyone, but that's a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, so what was the whole point of that? The practice is on the outside, looks like it's closed. Um, I made payroll and I covered all my expenses after the first month. That was not a problem.
That's incredible. That
Yeah,
is
I didn't pay myself, but everyone else got paid.
oh.
Everything was covered. Um,
Asterisk.
so that was a huge blessing. Then when I took over Direct Primary Care West Michigan, we had two leasing contracts. So people, a veteran administration like disability exams, and then there's a urologist or a family doc who does vasectomies in the office, and they rent
Oh, I
space for me.
saw
And then
that.
yeah, and they rent
That's
space for me,
cool.
and it's like my assistant. It's easy. My assistant, I don't have to do anything, and so that's income that
Right.
covers all of our overhead expenses.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't need that room,
So
right?
I don't need that room. So I've got
Yeah.
my exam room and I've got two extra exam rooms. And I'm not in my room every day. I'm only in the office 3 days a week. So my room, it's very, I try to keep it as bland. I mean, it's pretty, but it's bland as possible. So anyone can use it when I'm not there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are some of like the additional things that I've done and kind of help that I've carried on that I've learned from Dr. Amat to help sustain the practice without having to burn myself out by doing more than I can do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely one of the benefits of owning your space. Yeah. And I
Yes.
remember seeing pictures of her office. It's gorgeous.
It's
Lots of
beautiful. It's
light,
gorgeous.
windows,
Yes.
right?
The whole side wall, like all the
Mm-hmm.
exam rooms, everything is full windows. I mean, it's beautiful. It's absolutely. And again, it's like, wow, if I was starting this from the beginning, I don't know that it would, if I were doing it all myself, I don't know that I'd be in this position. So
Mm-hmm.
I always speak of Dr. Ma and praise and grateful for her, first of all, being brave to start this process and be one of the first, and then two, to trust me
Mm-hmm.
with carrying it forward.
Yeah, with her baby, her creation.
Her creation, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I wanted to ask you just a couple more things. So you've told us about what you're doing outside of your practice. So you're doing 3 days a week in the office, and then
right.
I'm guessing the other 2 days of the week, like work week, you're,
Hmm.
doing family things or the other
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah, usually podcast stuff, my admin time, trying to, do all the stuff in between. It was Michigan State on one of the days. So yeah, it's usually those things. And my son, usually if he has a day off, it's Friday. So I don't go in the office on Friday so I can be available to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Fantastic.
plays soccer. So and my hours are shorter. Like
Uh-huh.
I only 9 to 3 is our advertised hours. And what I tell people is like, to be clear, like I need those boundaries to protect my time, because being a mom and being a wife are actually my top priorities.
Uh-huh.
And I make sure I tell people that up front. Like, I really do care about you, but my family comes first.
Sure. Yeah.
And
And if people
again, that
don't
was one that
understand that,
then it's not a good
yeah.
fit.
Yeah.
And I need them to understand. It doesn't mean I'm going to ignore them, but if I'm going to put them first. And that was also one of the big reasons that it's a huge benefit of being an independent practice owner. Is why I had to leave the system, is because my family was suffering. My son would sit next to me and he would pretend like he was working on a laptop in the evenings, like, I'm mommy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have time. Like like that's what he sees me as.
Mhm.
So, getting choked up again. I have time to be there for him. And it's been that was a requirement that I set for myself in the beginning. I would need to set my time and my schedule to where I can be available for him if needed.
Mhm.
So we have wiggle room. If I have time in the evening, I'll tack on a later appointment. If I don't
Mhm.
have a lot going on Wednesday or Friday, I might see someone. And I've actually started opening up my home to doing some home visits here, because I have an office upstairs. So I'm experimenting a little bit with that on a
Oh,
case by case
interesting.
basis. Yeah,
Yeah.
because my office is over. So West Michigan, like, I live in Byron Center. Grand Rapids it's about, my office is about 20-minute drive from where I live.
Uh-huh.
And a significant number of my patients came to me, and I was practicing in Byron Center. And
Got
a
it.
lot of those patients are coming to me from 40 minutes away. in some cases. And so if they're visiting me, I've met people at coffee shops on days that I'm not in the office to check a kid for an ear infection. Those are
Who does that,
those are the
right?
kind of things that who does that, right? I've gone to people's homes that live like, hey, look, I'll stop at your house on my way home because it's near my house. It's closer for me to come to you than you to drive all the way to my office because then my house is like 10 minutes away from you. So
Mhm.
those are the kind of things I've done outside of those routine hours. So like people like, oh, you're not hardly available. No, the interesting thing is like I'm actually way more available
Yeah.
than I was before,
Hmm.
um, because of all those flexibilities. So
Right. Yeah.
I, if everything comes to fruition, I would love to have a second office and have another person working with me where I can have an office closer to this side of town because so many of my patients are
Yeah.
over here on this side of town.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't want to keep you too long, so I will ask you, let's see. Is there
I'm a
something?
talker. I'm sorry.
No, you know what? For a podcast, please, you're the perfect guest. You don't want someone who doesn't talk, right? So,
Yeah.
if is there anything real quick that you think, oh, I did this and maybe, in retrospect, I wouldn't
Mm,
have, or, just didn't work for you, might work for someone
yeah.
else, but
So, yeah. So in the very beginning, when I was trying to figure out, and I'm still working through these, is like you have when you have a primary care practice, a lot of us have like side businesses or side components, additional, and I've been trying to figure out from the beginning, what is something else I can offer? Could I,
yeah, yeah.
for non-members, like should I have like non-member stuff? And so another doctor who I was learning from, she closed her practice right around the same time I opened my practice too. And she ultimately figured out that DPC just wasn't for her. And she
Okay.
was doing obesity management and weight management as kind of like that's what she had left. And she wanted to hand off those patients to me because I also do some weight management. So in the very beginning, I was okay, yeah, I'll have a little side thing where I'll just have like the weight management patients. And I took that on because it was something she asked me, and I said, yeah, this would be great because then I can have that steady income and without all of the burden, if you will, of all of the
Mm-hmm.
comprehensive care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I figured I really did not like that at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at the point now where I feel like if I do anything extra, it has to be completely there has to be as little chronic disease, medically stuff involved in it
Right.
because it's hard
Yeah.
for me to disconnect myself from that.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
And especially when you're dealing with something like weight, I found it very difficult to just, oh, let's discuss your weight, let's do all that, and then not want to get into all the other things because it's all
Mm-hmm.
related. And after about 6 months of trying to do that, I was like, I'm not doing this well. I don't want to do this anymore. I need to close this part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. They're so tied. It's like, how do you separate it out and be like, no, that part's for your primary. I'm just going to look. It is impossible.
no,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Yeah. And so anything where there was an overlap of where I felt there was strong connection between the primary care and what
Hmm.
I was doing, I just like, I can't do it
Yeah.
if they're
Yeah.
not my
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah. Great advice. Yeah, that's something. I mean, you wouldn't know that until you get into it,
No.
though. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Sometimes you just got to
yeah.
try
And you
it,
learn more,
figure out if it don't
you
work.
learn more about yourself. You're like, that's just something I can't separate them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And being okay with that is
Right.
important.
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
tell us how to find you, how to reach you, get in touch with you.
So if you want to learn more about my practice, whether a patient or another doctor just want to kind of like chat, Dr. Angela at sohdpc.com. That's short for seedsofhealthdpc.com. If you want to follow me on social media, my most active account is Angela Lifestyle ND on Instagram.
Hmm.
I also have an Instagram account for Seeds of Health, which is just Seeds of Health DPC. So all the places to find me. Somewhere along the way, I'll share my YouTube once we have our workshops going.
Yes, fantastic. Awesome. So, okay. And then are you going to rebrand all of those or just keep them?
So I am uncertain. Another thing, that piece of advice I would say is in the beginning, I tried to do a lot myself, and sometimes it's really just worth it to pay someone else to do things, right? So I have a branding guy that I hired initially, and then I brought him back on to say, I can't do all this thinking, do it for me. So we're
Mhm.
in the process of figuring that out.
Also good advice. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And let's do this again. Thank you for listening to DPC Life. If today's conversation inspired you, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with a friend who's ready for change. Remember, wherever you are in the journey, your DPC family has your back. Until next time, keep building a practice and a life that truly fits you. This show is brought to you by DPC Ads and Minutes and Harmony Ops Health, helping independent doctors like you grow and thrive.